I never lied where I came from. Texas had its place for me to find a home deep in my soul. I must know the world as a whole.
Hi, my name's Guy Forsyth. I'm going to do a song that I wrote. This is called Nobody Gonna Bail Me Out. 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 Made my call. I made my bed. Nowhere but rocks to lay my head. Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 I got no money, expensive friends. Trouble come well, let it in. Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 Now all I got left, two broken hands, borrowed time, rented land. Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 Now that's a poor man's choice. Take my stand. You can't say, ain't that a man? Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 Nobody's coming to make this right. Nobody cares about this fight. Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 Nobody left to carry on. No one can miss me when I'm gone. Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 Just now we're saving, this is high command. Guess I do the best I can. Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 Now that's a poor man's choice. Take my stand. You can't say, ain't that a man? Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 Now that's a poor man's choice. Take my stand. You can't say, ain't that a man? Nobody gonna bail me out. 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 Nobody gonna bail me out.
Hey, hello. I'm Carol Coburn, and this is Creative's Cornerstone. I'm your host for the next hour, and I'm so grateful that you joined us today. Yay. Now, whether you're watching us from Austin Public Access TV, or if you're over on our YouTube channel, please hit the like and subscribe button so we can broaden the stage and brighten the lights for the artists and the creatives that we have here on the studio, on the show. Today, oh my goodness, is Guy Forsyth. I have waited forever to have you on the show.
So glad to be here. Thank you for taking time
gosh.
and allowing me to be here.
Thank you so much for showing up. I know it's been a challenge because you had a residency going on Sundays that coincided with our recordings of the show.
That's right. The Purgatory Players played at my El Mikado up until the time that it closed. And it was a non-denominational gospel brunch that raised money for the Central Texas Food Bank. Hopefully, when the restaurant reopens under a different name, they still intend to have us there. So we're waiting to see if that actually continues, because that was just a really great thing to be a part of.
Because you did the residency there, that brought us into our radar, and so we would stop when we left here and enjoy the place. So welcome to our sandbox. Let's tell people a little bit about you. I know they got a little flavor in the beginning of the show that was just such a small flavor, though. You are so multifaceted, multi-talented, so amazing. You write your music?
I write a lot of music. Everything that I did
today, that you're going to do today.
I'm going to do today are all originals. Some of them are songs that I've co-written with other people. Two of them are co-writes, but all the rest are originals.
When you co-write, is it a matter of having a conversation with somebody saying, hey, we should get together and write something? Or how does that happen?
There's no one way that it happens. Sometimes you can just be seated with another songwriter, musician, and you start coming up with an idea, and something might grow from that. The last song that I'm doing today is a song that I wrote with Julia Malanta, and we were just seated at the house and playing guitar and stuff like that, and we had a couple ideas. I think we were like, hey, we should try to write something. And it was very casual. Sometimes in the music business, you might schedule an opportunity to get to go work with a songwriter that is in demand or that you really like. Yeah. And that can be a little bit more business related. And you'd show up somewhere and you'd have the intention to write a song. And so that can also work, but it's like fishing. You know, you can throw your line in, but you might pull out a fish. You might pull out a can. You don't know.
I was wondering, because that seems, rather than organically happening, it seems like the pressure is on. You've got this slated time to be able to work with this person. But I imagine a lot of great ideas are born even if they aren't completed in that moment.
Yeah, and also there's a expression that I think I got from I forget the book that I read, but the quote was, "Inspiration is for amateurs," right? You know, like, because it's true.
I guess so.
Sometimes
I never
you could
thought
be
about
really
that.
inspired to do something, and you might like, oh, I have this great idea, and you write it down. But if you're a songwriter, if your job is creative, if you're any type of creative, you have to make a space and defend a space to be creative in. You have to make sure that you're not distracting yourself. You're not, you're not
disciplined. You have to be very disciplined.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to do that like it's a gift for yourself. You know, like, I'm going to make this time and this space. I'm not going to be fooling around on my phone. I'm not going to be letting other things distract me. I'm just going to sit underneath the song tree and wait till something drops. And if you're there and waiting, something will drop. It will happen. And it's important, if you want to be creative in anything, you need to commit to being creative enough that you don't have to worry about the quality of what you're doing. Just be in the action of creating and let yourself edit later. Later on, you can take a look at the things you did, and you can judge them for, like, what you think about them and what you would want to do with them. But you can't do that too early. You have to.
Otherwise, you're caught up in that cycle. It'll never, if you face it that way, it'll never be enough.
You can talk yourself out of anything.
Right.
And, like, if I have an idea for a song, or like, oh, this is a cool idea for a song. Well, it's kind of like that other song that other person wrote. Well, sure. All songs are kind of like every other song. It's a song, So it doesn't. You don't need to pass some sort of litmus test that this is truly 100% original, because that's not how humans work.
Right. Wow. I never thought about that, inspiration being for amateurs. But when you really break it down like that, it's so true.
Yeah, I think it was the artist's way that I read.
Wow. So I know you have been around. I mean, you have worked with a lot of people. I've heard that about you, and it comes to the table with what you do and your level of creativity. because you often bring everything to the table of all of the experiences and the things that you've had, you bring it to the table. And I feel like it's reflective in your performance and in the way that you entertain, because it isn't just about the song that you're performing in that moment. You actually entertain and educate some with how you present it.
You honor my teachers. The people that are some of my favorite musicians, like Steve James, who passed last year, but also people like Pete Seeger. He was very much about teaching, not just entertaining. It wasn't just entertainment. And and there's nothing wrong with just entertainment, but also, I've been doing this for a long time, so I do have some opinions. I do have some observations and stuff that I want to bring in.
Insight.
And that's what's valuable, like the thing that you have found that you want to bring forward. People are at their best when they're sharing the things that they love.
What lured you here?
Well, I would definitely say that I can mark that as the beginning of my adult life, and everything up to that point before, is sort of like pre-story for me when I'm from moving here. And I had seen Austin when I was doing Renaissance festivals. For a while when I was young, I worked at Renaissance festivals as a stuntman, not like falling off of buildings and stuff like that, but choreographed fights and physical comedy, like Commedia dell'arte or The Three Stooges. It was sort of like that sort of comedy. Okay. And that was a lot of fun. And it was like running away and joining the circus.
Sure.
Because you'd go camp different places for different festivals and stay there, and you'd work on the weekends, and then for me, I'd heal for the rest of the week until it was time for the next weekend and go back and do it again. And
very nomadic.
Yeah. There are people that spend their whole life, their whole year doing this. And they'll go from this festival to this festival and this festival. And sometimes in the depth of the winter, they'll winter somewhere like Florida, sort of like the circuses used to do.
Yeah.
And that introduced me to a very interesting type of artists, the different people who are working at Renaissance festivals, both people who were making things and selling them, and people who were performing. And the type of show that I was doing, I played Robin Hood in a Robin Hood and Little John show on a plank over water. And of course, always I ended up going into the water. Now, sometimes this would have been in Kansas City, where it was cold. And so you'd get out of after doing the show, you'd go get around a heater and just try to dry off until the next show. So I'm working my way up in the industry.
How fun. Oh my gosh. And so that group of people, that community is what lured you here to
Well,
Texas.
I knew some musicians in that group, and I learned from them, and just hanging out with them, listening to them play and to them talk. And when I was in Kansas, I got a chance to come down to Austin, and I went down to 6th Street with some of my friends who were working at the Renaissance Festival.
And this is Old Austin.
Yeah, this would have been in 89, and went to Joe's Generic Bar down on 6th Street, which was a little blues bar that was pretty much the least you could possibly have and still have a bar. It was a building, but it was really being held up by the two buildings on either side. They sold beer out of a bunch of ice, just like, here, you want a beer? It's like $2 and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
And the band was working for tips. There was no cover. But I was already working for tips. I was getting beat up working for tips. I was like, well, this would be much better. And so I came down to Austin and started busking on the street, across from the UT campus, and sometimes on the mall there, and getting gigs down on 6th Street, going to open mics at places like Chicago House. There was a wonderful couple that ran this venue called Chicago House, Peg and Glenda, and they taught me so much about songwriting and listening to music, because they were a very powerful stand for songwriters. It was a club, a bar, but they would defend the artist. Like if they're like, "You're talking, shh, be quiet." Listen to the songs.
That's
songs are important.
fabulous.
Like they had a almost spiritual commitment
Wow.
to bringing forth the songwriter. Something similar to what you're doing here, because people are at their best when they're sharing the things that they love.
Yes.
And that was instrumental to me. There were people running that open mic, like Betty Elders, and some really wonderful players that I got to hang out with.
Wow, how
Jimmy
wonderful
LaFave.
that you, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was running the open mic when I showed up.
Wow.
So every week I'd get there early, sign up, and they had 2 open mics a week. They had one on Monday and one on Wednesday. And that was like graduate school, because
what a foundation you were able to build.
yeah,
with
people would
those
show
people.
up and they'd have a new song, and you try it out. You can sing it for people, and maybe if you got friends there, maybe they'll give you notes. Maybe they'll your song sucks. Okay, and you know why it sucks? Because that's
Sure.
your buddies.
Yeah, but that's one of the significant things with open mics and singer-songwriter open mics.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your audience, just like in other genres like comedy, nod to Jeremiah, that, usually the audience is made up of those that are going to take the mic.
Yeah, peers.
Right, exactly. And so that's a great opportunity to be able to share feedback and to share, support.
Yeah, I was definitely lucky, and I'm a really lucky person, because I am 57, and since I turned 21, I've never had a job. I've worked as a musician. That's not because I have money.
No, I understand.
That's because I live cheap, and I love what I get to do. And so when I say I've never had a job, I work as a musician. You've got to hustle in order to do this. Everybody who's
people don't realize what just a musician really means. It's wow.
And at this time in history, there's a lot more is asked of the musician, because the ways that you would have broken into the industry, or gotten access, would have been more about print, newspapers, people, and people. There used to be people whose job it was to review and inform people about what was going on.
Yes.
And now, because of social media, that job has been erased, and that everybody can do it now, which is, in some cases, really great. But in another way, it's not really great, because now there's so much noise,
saturation,
and there's so much going on the internet, in social media and stuff like that. It's really hard to get anything of value.
Right.
It's been totally commodified and monetized. And although there was certainly a wonderful period of time where there was a lot of free access, that's no longer the case, because the people who own those platforms are not doing it for you. They don't serve you. They're serving their the people who own their stock.
What do you share with somebody fresh-faced that's coming from Kansas today, and wants to do this? And it's the music that's alluring them.
Yeah, I think it's important to really study the business side of the thing you're getting into. And I certainly didn't when I started, but I've had to learn, mostly for self-defense. You just have to understand who's making money, and and who's not, who's being used here, whose efforts are going in, and who's getting the benefit of it. It's obviously not just about money, right? Because we're having a conversation about creativity, and the benefit to everyone from creative people is far more than what can possibly be monetized by it. Absolutely. It's just true.
On every level.
On every level. But you still have to exist in this competitive capitalist society, which even if you're doing something which is fantastic and benefits a lot of people, if you don't figure out a way to get paid for it, you'll still starve. So there's a difference now in the people who are making music in Austin, because if you can't afford to pay for your bills with music, you either work another job, which a lot of people do.
That's the majority.
That's definitely true. And so then you are doing 2 full-time jobs at the same time.
Exactly, because if you say, okay, do you have a full-time job? You get a blank stare. I've got 2 full-time jobs.
And we see the very real possibility that the jobs that creatives have traditionally had to pay for their exploration of art.
A lot of those are service industry jobs.
Service industry, but also the effect of AI being used for writing, AI being used for graphic design, AI being used for music. It's like the technology exists, and I think that there'll always be a market for human expression amongst humans, right? But it's going to become more and more a luxury item, and more of our media will be created by computer because you can own it that way.
That's such a punch in the gut
to pay
to the
those
talented
pesky creatives. The pesky creatives are getting in the way of us owning everything.
I thank you for coming today. I need you to share with folks where we can find more things about you. Your music, where can we listen to your music? And where can we listen to your music that you actually are compensated for it?
Well, you can, I am on the different streaming platforms under my name, Guy Forsyth, and also projects that I've done like the Asylum Street Spankers or the Hot Nut Riveters. There's a lot of music out there.
Yes.
And I do have a website, guyforsyth.com, which will have my schedule on it.
Does that offer people to buy your merchandise and buy your music from your website?
There is things that we sell on the website. And I've been using Bandcamp most recently as a way to put out music and to get paid by it. Because in Bandcamp, you can pretty much choose what you want to pay. And if people are introduced to that idea, they generally pay. They appreciate it. The people that I know who are real music fans feel good about paying for music. I love to pay musicians.
Yeah.
I hate to pay to park. It bothers me, like for things that don't necessarily bring a benefit as much as the commitment by these artists, these individuals, to make something beautiful. So I try to support that whenever I can. I still make 95% of my income as a live musician, as a performer. And so if you're not in the Austin or in the Texas area, I might be coming there sometime soon because I do work. Are you
planning a tour?
I do travel. I know I'm going back to Europe this year to play some shows in Holland and Belgium. And I've been lucky enough to get to do that a whole lot. And getting to travel as a musician, getting to travel is great because I'm not likely to be able to afford to get to go to a lot of the places that I've gone and gotten to perform at. And also as a performer, when you're traveling as an artist, people embrace you. They want to show you the things that they're proud of. They once again, people are best sharing the things they love.
Yes.
So if you come and you bring something of value, people are like, yeah, I want to show you, like let's go up to the top of the glacier and go drink the local moonshine, what
an experience.
Get fresh blueberries. It's like this. Some of that stuff is just amazing, right?
Right.
And it's the personal connection that is totally different than what you would do if you paid top dollar and flew first class and stayed at a 4-star hotel, which is pretty much identical to every other 4-star hotel you ever stay at.
So your website has your tour information and show information?
Yep. It'll say where we will be playing. I also use social media a lot because as a musician, as an artist at this point, you have to. Nobody else is going to disseminate your gigs. There are a number of different places that people can find out about music in Austin, what's going on, like 512 or the Austin Chronicle website.
Sure.
But those websites are incomplete at present. So there may be something going on right next to you, and you might not find out about it.
I'm going to verbalize my frustration. I realize the dissatisfaction with social media in the creatives realm and supporting certain things. But as someone who tries to keep her finger on a lot of the music that's going on and a lot of the activity, it's very hard. It's getting harder now to find those hubs, to find those places, because people are going to alternative means of communicating their schedules and different sites. And it's very hard when there's, especially in an area like Austin, where there's just so much wonderful stuff, to be able to have the time to be able to go to all of these different places to find it. So, all of the music that you're going to be playing today and all of the music that we play on our shows always clearly have the artists and the names of the songs so you can find them. David, my editor, does a wonderful job at including the websites and the contact information for folks. So I know it's a challenge, but we need to rise to it. There's so much that we're rising to right now, right? But the arts, we have to continue to support them in strong manners. I don't know why it's always left. I don't know why it's always the first thing that's cut in the schools, or why, when their funding is cut, because it's so huge on every level to every person that walks this earth. We need it.
Right. Life without music is not desirable.
Oh, I just can't imagine.
Life without art would be suffering, right? You need to have that expression. It's empowering to see somebody express themselves. It gives you a voice. The gold standard here is and always will be, if you encounter something that you like, tell your friends.
Absolutely.
Tell your friends. Austin, with all our complaints and critiques about its growth and the cost of living, still has amazing art going on every day,
all the time.
And just specifically talking about music, there is so much going on in town today, right now, that you could
feeds the soul.
Yeah.
Nobody has enough time in the week to be able to go to all of the shows that you really want to take in.
And it doesn't. And a lot of people start thinking that music is something that you go to a
Date
huge
night.
arena and you pay $200 for a ticket, which is not how I like to consume music.
No.
It's not at all, because I have found
I like
that
it up close and personal.
the most powerful musical experiences that I've had have been in smaller clubs, because it's a container and you're part of it. And that's old technology. Humans have been doing this forever. Yeah.
No two shows are the same ever, especially live. And when you're in a club, and I've had some of the best times at the Continental Club or at some of these places, and it's exciting to me to find a new place. I recently discovered Buddy's Place. It's been here. Great performances, great people. There's just so much. But it's really important, do yourself a favor. Give yourself the gift of staying up late, I mean, there's so much to be able to do, and to please support your artists, please, at these shows. And of course the support staff that serve you. Guy, thank you so much. What a pleasure.
Thanks for having me here.
We're going to see you mic'd up here in just a minute. And you're welcome. Hey, Guy.
Hi there.
What you doing there?
I glued it on, but if I don't keep pressure on it, I'm afraid it'll just fall off. So, we're getting ready for the show and applying the layers of grease paint that cover up the damage of a 35-year career in the music business.
Okay, well, that's pretty intense. I'm glad we walked in on you on that moment. So I want to ask you, we do a segment here called In the Makeup Room. And what's the story with the hat?
Well, the hat was a gift. It was given to me by a friend down in Greene, and I like hats. I like strange hats, and I guess this short top hat, I guess is what you're going to call it. I like this hat a lot. And it has a little bit of bling on it, which I put on it when I was going to New Orleans. And it just seems nice there. So I like my hat. People need to be able to defend their hats. We see a lot of people wearing hats that, you know, like you really do want to walk up to them and go, "So, are you a cowboy?" I'm curious. Do you think you're a cowboy?
There's snakes around my trailer. I found a scorpion in my bed. Snakes around my trailer. I found a scorpion in my bed. Oh, if Texas has its way, I could wake up dead. Black mold underneath the sheetrock and paper wasps in the east. You know, I try to keep up with the upkeeper. An honest man may be deceived. Oh, God help the child set upon by thieves. Now it's a jacked up day where I wake up and I'm already late. Moving through the front door, I wonder what I run for. Meet my fate. If Texas had its way, I'd be gone without a trace. 100 right behind me to take my place. Hot sun working in the red clay, and it cracks like a chain. Hell, in August, Texas, fools pray for rain. Are you dumb sons of bitches? Hurricane. Cause if it wasn't trying to kill you, it wouldn't be Texas. If you ain't got the fight, you won't make it here. See that cowboy hat driving that Lexus, that wicked grin from ear to ear. You won't make it here. See that cowboy hat driving that Lexus, man, that wicked grin from ear to ear. Now it's a jacked up day where I wake up and I'm already late. Moving through the front door, I wonder what I run for. Meet my fate. If Texas had its way, I'd be gone without a trace. 100 right behind me to take my place. Oh, there's snakes around my trailer. I found a scorpion in my bed. If Texas has its way, there will be bloodshed. And if trouble makes a man, I'm a thoroughbred. Texas, Texas, Texas. Thanks to the miracle of recorded technology, I have no idea what time it is. But
Nevertheless, this is still a very important date. I'm going to tell you why. This is the anniversary, the debut of Patina Verdigris, the greatest there will ever be, voice of another time, critics' darling, Broadway rage, chanteuse of the Gilded Age, songbird in an open cage, forever in her prime. Over 100 years ago, she took the stage, she stole the show, Vienna to the Golden Gate. She packed the house for decades straight. Footlights burn, smoke would curl, sequins dance through strings of pearls. Her melodies would ache and whirl, and always the band would play. With music, like the poets wrote, the gift of life born from the throat, truth confessed with every note, Patina Verdigris. She sang the classics, made them hers. Ancients went back and changed the words, influencing songs of birds, Patina Verdigris. Over 100 years ago, she took the stage, she stole the show, Vienna to the Golden Gate. She packed the house for decades straight. Footlights burn, smoke would curl, sequins dance through strings of pearls. Her melodies would ache and whirl, and always the band would play. 2 shows every day. Now, eventually, she disappeared. That's where the history gets weird. The crowd dispersed. They finally cleared her name from the marquee. New acts where she used to play. New critics deemed her sound passé. Few hear her name today, Patina Verdigris. No recordings of her exist. Still her memory persists. A little tarnished, yes, it fits, Patina Verdigris. But there's magic in silence too. Imagine what that means for you, and you will hear her coming through, Patina Verdigris. I'd like to send this song to everybody out in the world who has a crazy friend. And I'm sure you know who you're thinking about right now. Unless, of course, you don't, and you're wondering, who could that be? And in that case, you are most likely the crazy friend. So this is called The Crazy One. Uno Loco. What I wouldn't give to be the crazy one, always running round, having all the fun, blazing through the stops, burning down the town. You know that I will catch you when you come down. You come in the room, it's like you don't care.
try to pin you down. But just like that fire you got in your hair, you streak on by, leaving nothing there. What I wouldn't give to be the crazy one, always running round, having all the fun, blazing through the stops, burning down the town. You know that I will catch you when you come down. You know that I will catch you when you come down. Yes, I'll be here to catch you when you come down. Don't waste a moment on that one you left behind. Don't think for a second you just might change your mind. Things would be different if the whole wide world rewind. 'Cause you could say she's crazy now. It's not like you treated her any different than all the rest. Held for a moment and told you loved her best. Maybe she just felt it deeper inside the vest. 'Cause you could say she's crazy now. She's crazy now. Used to spend every single sunrise, sleep it off and get it on again. What could make a man so unwise to slander so good a friend? Keep your mind on what you have got. Don't waste your time on what you have not. Just count your blessings. You got off the first shot. And you could say she's crazy now. Sleep it off, get it on again. What could make a man so unwise to slander so good a friend? And if the end was just too much for her to bear, you suck it up and breathe it out like air. After all, she saw things in you that simply were not there. And you could say she's crazy now. You could say she's crazy now. You could say she's crazy now. This is for Stephen Bruton. matter. I only want things that you can share. Don't give me diamond rings, all those so-called finer things. They don't matter when they are not there. I don't need more clothes if I'm not freezing. And I don't want a love that I can't feel. I can't use a pretty lie just to help me pass my time. Love only matters when it's real. I only want the things that matter. I only want things that you can share. Don't give me diamond rings, all those so-called finer things. They don't matter when they are not there. Now I met a man who made $1 million, built himself a mansion up on high, and he worked hard every day until his strength passed him away, and now he sits and watches lovers pass him by. I only want the things that matter. Only want things that you can share. Don't give me diamond rings, all those so-called finer things. They don't matter when they are not there. So I gave my girl a watch that shined with diamonds, prettiest watch you would ever find. She left it in the drawer when she walked right out my door. Turns out all she needed was my time. I only want the things that matter. I only want things that you can share. Don't give me diamond rings, all those so-called finer things. They don't matter when they are not there. Now I know you can tell I'm not a rich man. Expect you know that I'm not a rich man's son. You should run and play and gather roses while you may. Can't buy your time back when it's done. I only want the things that matter. I only want things that you can share. Don't give me diamond rings, all those so-called finer things. They don't matter when they are not there. Oh, they don't matter when they are not there. This is a song that I wrote with Julia Malanta. This is called Yours and Mine. Take your blanket from my bed, a pillow for your head, but leave the other one for me. They came as a set, yours and mine. Take the picture off the wall that covered up the hole I made when I punched my way through. I meant to make it right, but I never got around to it. Now it's just something else I've gotta do. Yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. Yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. And you can keep your friends with you till the end. And I hope that they will pull you through. I'll stay here alone with the daughters and the bones. There's still one to go. The other bird has flown. She's gone, living in the wind. The young one watches windows and wonders, when will her time begin? Yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. Yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. And I can feel you. I know that it's true. You miss her more and more. How could you not, with all those pictures that you've got? Did you see them when they walked out your door? Yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. Yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. And we can share the blame. You can keep my name for all the good it'll do. I hope it brings you joy, another asset to employ. And I wonder what it was I failed because something I did or didn't do. All these things I let them go, and I accept that I'll never know. Yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. Yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. I believe in you. I have seen your light, and I know this is true. The world hasn't seen the gifts you bring with you. What you'll do, I believe in you. My faith is strong. It has brought me here, and if the road gets long, I will have no fear. As the night comes on, I'll sing your song. My faith is strong. Trouble seems to find a way to steal the color from the day, the moment that the sky turns gray and fades. I wonder, did I miss the sign? Know where to go at closing time? Just rattle off another rhyme and leave it on the stage. But I believe in you. I have seen your light, and I know this is true. Hasn't seen the gifts you bring with you. What you'll do, I believe in you. There are different kinds of despair, the most common being where you just deny the whole affair. Pretend it doesn't smart, though that long ago. I wonder, do I even know the reason why I had to go? The dictates of my heart. But I believe in you. I heard 1,000 stories and they all came true. It's in the little things you always do. When you come through, I believe in you.
Guy, oh my gosh, thank you so much for today and for the music that you put into this world. I'm so glad. I feel like I've waited forever for this moment, and I'm so grateful to be doing it today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. And as artists, independent artists, you know, like we're trying everything we can to try to reach people, because the traditional methods are old and decaying, and the modern methods are owned.
Absolutely. Can you remind our viewers where they can find all things you?
Yeah, GuyForsyth.com, a website that my mom named me after, and so it's sort of a legacy website, and so it's GuyForsyth.com, spelled exactly like it sounds, if it sounds like GUYFORSYTH.
Thanks again. Everybody, till next time, bye.
We hope your new realtor plays drums in a band. We hope your new dentist is its front man. We hope live music always makes you proud. Just don't call the cops if you think it's too loud. South by South by South by Southwest. We hope you'll like it so much you'll move here just like the rest of us non-native Texans.